artists. I am so excited to be doing this lesson today. Today we are all going to be doing the Great Color Challenge. So let's go ahead and jump in and let me show you what you are going to be doing today. Okay, so your station should look like this. You should have your Great Color Challenge worksheet, something to write with, your wax paper, which you're going to use to mix your colors on, a white piece of paper under your wax paper so that you can see your colors when you mix them, several paper towels, a water cup, a paintbrush, and last but not least, your primary colors and white. This type of paint is called tempera paint. This type of paint does not like water. So every time we rinse our paintbrush off, we are going to make sure that it gets nice and dry by rolling it on our paper towels. That is why you need several paper towels for this assignment. Okay, so let's go ahead and let me show you what you're going to do. The first thing you're going to do is always the same. You pick up your pencil and you write your name. My name is Mrs. Cavalier. Then I want you to write your class code. Let's pretend I'm in 3rd grade and I come to art on a day. So I write my class code, what grade I am, and what day I come to art. Okay, the next thing that we get to do is paint the primary colors. Now, I do not want you to put your paintbrush in any of these buckets. That is how our paint gets dirty. And if our paint changes colors from what's in the buckets, then the rest of this will not work the way it should. So, I have given each of you this piece of wax paper. You are going to serve yourself up a small amount of paint onto this piece of paper. With these 3 primary colors, yellow, red, and blue, you can make all other colors. That is why these are called primary. It's because they are the first colors, the primary colors, that all other colors are made from. So today we're going to use these 3 colors to make more colors. But before we start, I also want you to put a little dab of white, a scoop of white, right in the middle of that triangle. Okay. So again, I want you to notice that each one of my colors is just a little bit bigger than my fingernail. Please make sure you don't put too much because you cannot put it back in the colors. But you can always add more if you run out. Before we start mixing any colors on our palette, I want you to paint the 3 primary colors in those 3 boxes. So we're going to paint yellow first because yellow is the lightest color. And we want to keep our water pretty clean. So if we started with blue, our water would turn blue. And then if it stayed on our brush, then our yellow would turn green. So we're going to start with our lightest color, then go to red, then go to blue. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and paint my first 3 squares, the primary colors. Now that I have my primary colors filled in with yellow, red, and blue, my next step is to mix up the secondary colors. These are the second colors that you get when you start to mix the primary colors. Our secondary colors are going to be orange, green, and purple. When you mix your colors, you will need more of your lighter color than you do of your darker color. That means when we mix orange, we're going to get a big amount of yellow. See how it's just on the tip of my brush, but I scooped it up, and I'm going to put it right there in between the yellow and red. When I get the red, I'm going to get a tiny bit of red. I'm just a teeny tiny bit on the tip of the paintbrush. And now when I mix those together, that is going to give me the color orange. Now don't make this circle too big. Keep it right about the size of your fingernail. If you spread it out too much, you won't be able to pick it up to put it on your paper. Okay, now that we are down into this grid of squares, we get to create all kinds of color. But the first thing that I want to show you how to do is to create tertiary colors. Those are the colors that come between a primary and a secondary. So what you would do is you would pull off a little bit of blue, pull off a little bit of green, mix it together. You would get a nice little turquoise right there. And you can paint your turquoise in the first square. That's beautiful. That would be great for an ocean. Okay, so then I need to create this tertiary color, which is going to be a bluish purple. So let's pull off a little bit of blue, a little bit of purple, and mix it together. A little bit more purple. And now I'm going to get a purplish blue, just like that. That would be great for a night sky, I think. And I'm going to keep on going around in between each color and create the tertiary color. So the first color I made was a green and a blue, so I'm going to write green plus blue. This one was a purple and a blue, so I'm going to write purple plus blue. This one is a purple and a red. Purple plus red. This was a red and an orange, so R plus O, that stands for red plus orange. This one is an orange plus a yellow, orange plus yellow. And this one is a yellow plus a green, so yellow plus green. So now I know the recipe for each one of those colors, and these are the tertiary colors. Now comes the fun part. Now you really get to play with mixing colors. And there's one that we haven't even played with yet, which is white. So let me show you just real quick how you want to be mixing these on your palette. And then I'm going to just let you guys fill in all of those colors. So if I wanted to make a lavender and I wanted to mix white with this, maybe this bluish purple color, because that's, I think, would be nice. I'm going to pull some white on my brush and I'm just going to mix the little corner of that purple. I'm not going to make the whole dark purple. I'm not going to mix white in that whole dark purple. I'm just going to do the corner. Because this is a really tiny square. You don't need a lot of paint to paint that square. And that gave me the right color lavender. Now if I wanted it to be darker, I could pick up some of this purple and I could just put it right on top right there. So you can mix your colors on your paper, or you can mix your colors on your palette. But when you mix the colors on your palette, don't put the whole blob of white in your color, because that will forever change your blue. And don't put it all in the yellow, because that will forever change your yellow. So work more towards the middle as you start changing your colors. As you watched, you could see that I would pull colors from mixed colors into new colors, and I would create other little circles outside of my color wheel. But if you look close to my color wheel, you can still see my primary colors are nice and clean. I've got my yellow, my blue, and my red. You always want to keep your yellow, blue, and red separate. Don't ever change those colors. If you're going to use red to change a color, change it over here, outside or inside of your color wheel. Do not change your red or your yellow or your blue. Because once you change your red, yellow, and blue, you can no longer trust what your ingredients are for your new color that you like. Also, you always want to keep a little bit of white clean. So you can mix colors next to the white, but don't mix all of your white into a new color. Keep a little bit of it to the side so that you can pull it into a new color swatch. So every time you create a color that you like, go ahead and paint it on your squares. If you run out of squares and you want to keep going, you can paint your challenge up here. This area right here is for observations. For example, if I really like this color right here and it's something that I want to use in my next picture, I can name it. So let's say I'm going to name this one Mermaid. I think that's a cool name. So I'm going to name this one Mermaid. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say Mermaid was green plus blue plus white. So I wrote green for G for green, B for blue, W for white. So that is how I came up with the color Mermaid. And then I can say, ooh, this one is really pretty. I'm going to name that one Ocean. So you can name your colors. You can go through and name all of your colors if you want. But over here, if you wanted to write down the ingredients for Ocean, that was Mermaid plus blue. Okay, so now I know that when I was mixing this one, I used this color from Mermaid on my paintbrush, and I put a little bit of blue on it to get the new color Ocean. You'll see that when I was working on this, I also went ahead and put this color in this square too because I had a lot on my brush still. But then I dipped my paintbrush in the yellow and mixed up a new color on my paper, which is totally fine. You can mix on your paper also. The last thing before I let you guys go to work is I want you to be able to make the color brown. So what you're going to do when you need to make the color brown is, again, you're going to dry off your paintbrush after you rinse it off. You are going to pull some red, some yellow, and some blue, all three primary colors, and then you're going to mix those up. And what happens when you mix up those colors? Uh-oh, that one turned more purple than brown, and that's because yellow is very weak and you need more of it. So I'm going to add some more yellow in there. And now I have the color brown. You would need to mix up brown if you're going to paint a tree or brown skin or brown eyes. You need brown. So when you mix all three primaries, yellow, red, and blue, and you mix them together, you get brown. That is why when you paint a rainbow, you cannot dip your paintbrush in all of your colors at the same time. Because when you do that, it will turn brown, just like that. So before you guys wrap up your color challenge, I do want you to try to create the color brown so you know how to do it. You can also create brown by mixing the color across from the color wheel from it. So yellow and purple would make brown, orange and blue would make brown, red and green would make brown, and that's because red is a primary, and you use yellow and blue to make green. So that is why those also make brown, because really all of those colors, when you mix them, they are including all primary colors. They include yellow, red, and blue. No matter what color you choose, if it's a cross, it includes all three primary colors. Okay, so that is how you make brown. If you wanted to make a skin tone, you could add a little bit of white to that brown. You could add a little bit of orange to that brown. And that gets really close to my skin tone, if you see that. So I can make it a little bit lighter. And let's see. I brush it on my skin now. Still a little dark, but that is very close to a skin tone color. All right, boys and girls, have fun. Challenge yourself. See how many colors you can come up with. See how many you can name. Make your brown, make sure you get your primaries and secondaries, and also remember to make notes of any colors that you really loved. Have fun!